move into our second part of tonight's episode, and this is going to be a fun one. Evan came up with this great idea about listing our top 5. We're going to go from 5 to 1 Stan Lee cameos. We're not saying just Marvel Cinematic Universe. You could have went comics if you wanted. I don't know if Stan Lee's making a cameo. Actually, I think he does quite a few times in the Marvel comics.
He was in Ravage 2099 number 3, not that you and Chris Armstrong would know.
I had no idea. I think most of mine are movie/television related.
So are mine. I had 5 movies and then I remembered a TV show. So
that's what we're going to do. We're going to go from 5 to 1, our personal top 5 Stan Lee cameos. I'm going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
So number 5 is going to be Stan Lee's cameo in Teen Titans Go to the Movies from 2018. Is this on your list?
This is my number 5 too.
That's great. All right, well, here we go. I'm playing the clip.
Back, this magic happens.
Oh, man, I love this.
That is where the Animaniacs live.
Ooh, it's that car from that car movie.
Oh, it's good. Green Lantern hanging out
This
back
place
there.
is amazing, yo.
They're really making movies about every superhero.
Oh, there he is. He's back there.
Make one about me. Come on. Gene Wilson soundstage must be around here somewhere.
Hey, everybody, look at me. I'm Stan Lee, doing my subtle cameo.
Excuse me, Mr. Stan.
This is a DC movie? Oh, gee, I gotta get out of here.
To which he does not leave. Apparently, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but he comes back in the movie later. So,
yeah, he comes back, he says, hey, I just love doing cameos. I don't care what movie it is.
That's great. Okay, that's cool. So we're simpatico here, number 5. The reason I picked it at number 5, it's a DC movie. His reputation for having cameos has transcended Marvel Comics. And it's not like Stan Lee never had a relationship with DC Comics at any point. I think you're going to actually be covering that at some point, possibly as part of this, right? As part of the Superblog
team up. I'm going to go through the Just Imagine Stan Lee creating the DC Universe titles.
Right.
Which is getting an anniversary issue in honor of his 100th birthday.
So yeah, his reputation of having cameos has transcended so much that a DC movie decided to get him in there. Granted, it's an animated one, but it's Teen Titans Go to the Movies, and they lampoon it so hard, it's hilarious. But
it's great. Just that's exactly what I thought too. Is like it's Stan Lee. He means that much. Marvel, DC, whatever. We just like to have Stan in there.
Yeah, love it. All right, well, that was my number 5. I'm gonna let you go with number 4 since we both had number 5 the same.
I should have pivoted real quick and cited the Princess Diaries too, which he has an inexplicable cameo in. But,
does he seriously?
Yeah, he's like a wedding guest, if I remember correctly. Yeah, my number 4. This is another one where he wasn't playing himself, but I don't know. It just felt like a great Stan Lee moment as Avengers: Infinity War, where he's driving Peter Parker's school bus. Thanos' minions are attacking New York. Iron Man and Doctor Strange are fighting them off, and Peter's riding the school bus, and we get one of the first hints of the spider sense in the MCU when the hairs on his arms stand up and he sees the ship and he has his buddy Ned distract everybody. So Ned starts yelling, "We're going to die. It's a spaceship." And it cuts to Stan Lee driving the school bus and Stan goes, "Oh, you kids act like you never seen a spaceship before."
Oh. What a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is hilarious. We're gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
Ned.
What's the matter with you kids? You never seen a spaceship before?
Of course, it's Stan Lee bus driver. He's not going to be that disturbed by a spaceship.
No.
Especially if a certain theory about Stan Lee in the Marvel movies is true. But I think we'll get to that later.
Hold that thought. All right. My number 4, the YouTube clip that we are going to watch is 10 seconds long. But this is Fantastic Four 2005.
Oh, yeah, that one's on my list.
I'll couch this then. Okay. Well then, so that's number 4. For me, what is your number 3?
Well, number 3 is, and there are actually a couple of scenes in this, but there's one in particular. It's not in the MCU, and it's not in a movie.
Okay.
It is Stan Lee hanging out at the Android's Dungeon, the premier comic shop in Springfield. He had a couple scenes in the episode, but this is my particular favorite. I still quote to this day. And a little reminiscent of Teen Titans Go, because it's Stan having a little bit of good-natured fun with, as he used to call it, the distinguished competition.
You might have to do some setting up here, because I mean, I've watched The Simpsons. I know The Simpsons.
Yeah. Well, this was a comic book guy who runs the Android's Dungeon. I believe that's the name of his comic book shop, and of course has gotten into the pop culture vernacular with the worst issue ever.
Yes.
But for some reason in this episode, Stan Lee came to the comic book shop and did not leave the comic book shop. At one point, even claiming that he turned into the Hulk once, but can't do it anymore. But this is the moment that really stood out to me.
All right, here we go.
Hold it, son. Wouldn't you rather have an exciting action figure?
But only Batman fits in my Batmobile.
Are you nuts? The thing fits in there perfectly. Look, he's fitting right now.
Stan Lee came back.
Stan Lee never left, and I'm starting to think that his mind is no longer in mint condition.
You broke my Batmobile.
Broke or made it better?
Always the pitchman, always the salesman, always, that is his thing. Like, it's really something when you watch this man give an interview. I watched him do an interview he was promoting something. He had an appearance in something. Again, he pitches it as like one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. You believed that he believed it.
Right.
I can't remember when that came out, if any of the Fantastic Four movies had come out at that point. But I mean, just the fact that you're working in the thing, it's not Spider-Man, it's not the Hulk, it's not the most recognizable Marvel character, but it's definitely a Marvel character who would not fit in your average Batmobile.
I was looking, yeah.
And I still, when I get the chance, will say, "Oh, broke it or made it better."
Oh, that's great. All right, so that was your number 3.
Yes, sir.
All right, my number 3 was
2002. It aired on April 28th, 2002.
Oh, okay. All right. So wow, yeah, a little over 20 years ago.
Yeah, so that was pre-Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, it was. Mine is from 2007, and this is from Spider-Man 3. Is it on your list?
No.
Okay. All right. So, again, very short, I'm pretty sure. The only reason this makes it to number 3 on my list is because of the specific lines that are being said.
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
There it is.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Got to get the classic line in there. Enough said. It's weird when you start to be like, okay, top 5. I've got to sit down and I've got to really do some critique of how I'm going to build my list. And one of the things that really spoke to me was it felt like it had to have a situation that related to the comics. And it definitely, it had to mean something. There are quite a few Stan Lee cameos that are out there where it's him. He shows up. He's the DJ at the strip bar in Deadpool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, he's not really sitting down and like being like, listen, Wade. let me spill some stuff from my heart here. That right there, I felt was like, okay, that is like quintessential Stan Lee, and it's quick. And he says those 2 words, "Nuff said." Yeah. And I was like, okay, that one made my list. So that was number 3 for me. All right, so we're at number 2. I guess since I went, Last, you get to go with number 2 here. So what is your number 2?
Well, I think this one's on your list based on our earlier conversation, so we may have to put a pin in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Put a pin in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
All right.
All right, then number 2 for me. So my number 2 is not from any movie. It is not from any cartoon.
Oh, wow.
This is Lego Marvel's Avengers. Now,
okay.
I picked this scene just because I saw it, and I was like, okay, this looks pretty cool. So here's Stan Lee. He's cleaning up after the party and just happens to lift Thor's hammer. Then puts it down and whistles and walks away.
No, I hadn't seen that one before.
So, have you ever played the Lego Marvel games?
I played the first one, and I think I have Lego Marvel Avengers, but I am not the most accomplished video game player.
Okay, that's all right. No, I can remember playing Lego Star Wars. One of the first Lego games that I remember playing, there was a Lego DC Batman or something like that. They're fun games. I mean, they're obviously they're geared towards children, but they are.
Yeah, they present plenty of challenge for me.
Yeah. So with Lego Marvel, one of the cool things about that game was that every level, there was one hidden Stan Lee in peril. So you had to go rescue Stan Lee in some way. And of course he's voicing it. But there's only like 2 or 3 words being spoken, one of which is help. Help. So as you're playing the game and you're whatever character you are, all of a sudden you hear that, you're like, oh, Stan Lee's nearby. So sitting down with my kids and playing this game, we'd play 2 players and we would have a blast doing this. And then, oh, hey, Stan Lee's around here somewhere. Let's go figure out where Stan Lee's at. And then of course you rescue him. And one of the few iconic phrases that this man has is Excelsior, of course. Yes. Excelsior. And so if you rescue him, you get to hear him say that as well. Nice. So that almost made number 1. It really came close just because I have the memories with my kids playing this game. And I will tell you that it is probably, aside from the cameos, because I think as my children were watching like the Marvel movies, the only reason they knew who Stan Lee was because I pointed it out. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, it's the Stan Lee cameo. Oh, hey, it's the Stan Lee cameo. There's Stan Lee. But they would have never, if I wasn't in the room, they would have been watching this movie, had no idea, other than just the fact that I've seen this guy before. Why does he keep showing up in these movies? Playing the game with my kids, though, I think made them recognize who Stan Lee was. Like, why this guy is always in peril? Who is this guy? And of course, I would be sitting there and be like, "Hey guys, it's Stan Lee. It's Stan Lee." And we would rescue him. Of course, we'd had a good time playing the games together. So there's a lot of sentimental stuff. When Stan Lee passed away, I had to break that to my kids and be like, "Hey," and they knew exactly who I was talking about. And a lot of it is because we shared this interaction where we were trying to rescue Stan Lee from a video game. Came really close to my number 1, but there it is. Stan Lee and the Lego Marvel games is my number 2 cameo for Stan Lee. So you said you only have 1 left.
Yep.
Now,
and you have 1 left.
And I have 1 left.
And I know what yours is.
Right. But did you say that the Fantastic Four movie was on your list?
That's my number 1.
Okay. All right. So I had it at number 4. Where did you have Guardians of the Galaxy?
Number 2.
Number 2. All right. So then let's go ahead and let's do the Fantastic Four one first.
Did you have it at number 4 just because it was the Fantastic Four?
That was not my criteria, sir. That was not it. All right. So this is my number 4, your number 1. And like I said, this is a 10-second Stan Lee cameo. Where do I need
very important.
Yes, it is. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to the Baxter, Dr. Richards. I've got the usual for you. Good to have you back. Thanks.
10 seconds.
But that's Sir, 10 you have seconds of Stan Lee as a named Marvel character.
That is right.
Willie Lumpkin.
And does he not fit the bill? Like, I mean,
oh, yeah.
Again, that tie to comics that I was talking about. That's why it had to kind of.
Same thing with the enough said moment. You had just the fact that it was really cool to see him play himself sometimes, or a version of himself, but there he was one of his characters. And I believe, if I'm looking at this right, Willie Lumpkin's first appearance was in Fantastic Four number 11. So the month before they tangled with the Hulk, first they met Willie Lumpkin. And just the fact that, I mean, you know, Stan's cameos by that point were almost expected, and to have him in there as one of his creations, you know, one part of the tapestry of the Fantastic Four, was very cool.
Right.
It might be the only time he's played a named Marvel character.
Number one. You had this on your list, you said, at number 2.
Yeah, this was my number 2.
Number 2. I had it at number 1. This is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 from 2017.
Oh, man. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, at that time, I was a Federal Express. Fellas, hey, wait, where are you going? Hey, you were supposed to be my lift home. How will I get out of here? Hey, gee, I've got so many more stories to tell. Guys. Oh,
Stan Lee hanging out with the Watchers. The Watchers in an MCU film. I'm excited. Number 2, you get Stan Lee. You mentioned this. This was a tie to how a fan theory had taken hold, where people were saying that Stan Lee has actually been portraying the same person. The same Stan Lee has been portraying all these people throughout all these films and cameo appearances. He's actually been this one guy who's been hopping through realities.
I took it a little farther.
Okay.
I suggested that perhaps this is the second named Marvel character Stan Lee played, because that spacesuit he's got on is pretty distinctive. And it reminded me, I actually wrote about this once. It's still floating around out there on the interwebs. Have you ever read a story called Original Sin?
Oh, we were just talking about this. This is the Watcher's Eye thing, right?
Yeah, where the Watcher gets murdered.
Right. Yeah, okay. But go ahead.
Yeah, that was one of the things that came out of this, but there was also a character, and I won't spoil it, but there was a character introduced in that called Woodrow McCord, who is also known as the Man on the Wall. And he, in a lot of that, he had that spacesuit, that kind of spacesuit on, and he was somebody who kind of moved behind the scenes of the Marvel Universe. So my theory was that maybe Stan popping up in all these places was, you know, keeping tabs on things going on in the Marvel Universe as the MCU's version of Woodrow McCord, the Man on the Wall.
Wow.
I don't know,
oh, man.
but yeah, I had it ranked so high just because it ties him in to all those things. And I mean, you know, another fan theory was just that Stan Lee was the same character in all these movies, Stan Lee.
Oh, true. I mean, he was, yeah. He's just portraying these other characters. It works on so many different levels. One of the things that I really love about it is the fact that it's like acknowledging, hey, we know you guys are out there. We know you guys have a thought as to what this is, and they actually put it in the film. I love it when, you know, the creations give nods to the fans. Yeah. I think that's fantastic. And I think I had a feeling this was going to be on your list. I wondered where it was going to be. I'm glad it made your list at number 2, because I was like, you and I are both big What If fans. We're both big, you know, that's something that speaks to us. And I was like, he's got to have this on his list at least of all. Now, that again, these are personal favorites, folks. Whether they are yours or not, it doesn't matter. It's just Evan and I having a good time talking about our top 5. So anything else there, Evan, on our top 5 Stan Lee cameos?
No, that one, you know, links so many together, and, you know, really celebrates the fun people were having with it. So that's a good one. I gave the slight edge to Willie Lumpkin because of the full circle thing there. But
I like it.
Like I said, no wrong answers here.
No,
maybe Princess Diaries too, but other than that, no wrong answers.
I want to talk to the person that has that at the top of their list just to see what the rest of the list looked like. All right, and there's plenty of cameos out there. I think a lot of people would probably go for the Mallrats route because, you know, the
Mallrats cameo or the Captain Marvel cameo where he's reading the script for Mallrats?
Almost made the list. Almost, because that's a great reference. Like, they are referencing, hey, that's actually Stan Lee waiting for this role that he's going to have. Took a lot of thought to go into that one.
Yep.
Cool. I don't know if you want to take like 15 minutes and maybe talk about Marvel Snap, or if you are done. All right. All right.
I'm gonna be. I think I'm gonna work on a post about like the most unexpected characters to show up in Marvel Snap.
So okay.
And Hellcow is not number 1.
Really?
No.
Wow. Okay. I don't have any notes. I would have loved to have structured this other than just me going, man, I'd love to talk about Marvel Snap. So let's just, we're going to fire off the cuff here and let the conversation flow for about 15, 20 minutes about what's going on. So anybody that's out there that has the opportunity to download a mobile game to their phones may have seen ads for a Marvel-based card game called Marvel Snap. I first heard about it. Sean Garmer of the WTM Network, he does the video game podcast on here, Video Games to the Max. He might have actually said something to me. I haven't had a chance to do this, but have you by chance played Marvel Snap? He's like, I've been playing it a lot lately. And I was like, no, I haven't. I don't know anything about what he's talking about. I had no idea about it. And then you start talking about it, and I'm like, okay, all right. Evan's into a mobile game. I'm not used to him talking about video games at all. It's very rare that I hear you talk about games in any fashion when it comes to like playing something. That's when I was like, okay, I want to check this out. So I downloaded it. I think we're talking like 3 weeks ago, maybe. It might have been a little bit longer than that, but not very much, because I know I was around for when the most recent season just dropped, which is the Black Panther Wakanda, Warriors of Wakanda. To give everybody an idea of what this game is, you have 3 locations that are out there on this map. 1 location is revealed the first 3 turns. You get a total of normally 6 turns. And sometimes it could be 4 if the TVA is involved. And
or 7 if you pull Limbo.
Yeah, yep. Sometimes it could be 7 if Magic's involved or Limbo happens. But the point of the game is to use these cards, which each have a cost to play these cards, and they have a power value as well. The more power, the person with the most power at the end of the game at each location wins that location, and the goal is to win 2 out of 3 locations at the very least. Or if it's a tie on the locations where it's like one person with one person with another, and a tie at 1, then it comes down to the total power overall. But also, each turn you have energy to spend on these cards. Pardon me for making the rules sound really, really boring, but point is you get to spend this energy and you get the cards, and it's a lot of fun. And I think a lot of what speaks to the game for me is the fact that you can play one in like under 5 minutes practically. So that really makes it. I just played
one while you were doing the intro.
That's perfect. See, so yeah, you can legitimately sit down, start a game, and have it done, and go on about your day if you wanted to, or play for 4 hours like I do in the mornings. Not a good idea, but that's what ends up happening. One of the things that really stood out to me is the way that they make this game feel more in tune with the comics than what I thought it was going to be. Like I was expecting this was going to be heavily Marvel Cinematic U, because that's what everybody knows, and we're going to.
Oh yeah,
that is not the case here.
No, you've got the comic versions of Korg and Mantis. Definitely some characters I'm surprised weren't more MCU geared.
Right. Each card is usually a character. Sometimes it can be a device, a la Cerebro, a la Quinjet. These cards that have these characters on them have abilities that also feel much in tune with the character itself. I see your pixel variant Hellcow you just sent me. You thinking about spending money on that?
I don't know. There's a Destroyer Thor variant too. That's all I usually use my gold for, is a cool variant.
Same here. I don't think I would.
And by money, I mean gold in the game. I haven't spent. The prices aren't bad, but I haven't. I mean, you can play it and have fun without spending a bunch of money.
And that's another good thing about this game. It's amazing. Currently, okay, let's just do a rundown here real quick. So, do you have your Marvel Snap in front of you, sir?
I do.
All right. So I am currently at level 42 down there, the gold coin thing. So I'm at level 42. What are you at level wise here?
I was sneaking in another game. I believe I'm at level 51 or 52.
Okay. So I think it's like every 10 levels, you get either additional credits that you can use to upgrade your cards, or you can also get different avatars for what you're using to play. So like right now, mine's like, I think it's a chibi Hawkeye, which is this cute version of Hawkeye. Okay.
I'm using Colossus because he sometimes has a beard, sometimes is interesting, and sometimes is really boring. And I feel like that's
you.
Sums up the Evan experience. Yeah. You got that awfully quickly.
This is what keeps it really interesting for me, and that's the collection level. So currently I'm at a collection level of 680, which is right below your avatar. Now, this also is very indicative of how much you play the game. So now we get to hear how much Evan has been playing the game. What is your collector level, sir?
I'd like to take the Fifth Amendment. I'm at about 850.
850. Okay. All right. And yeah, so as you're playing this game and you're going through the collection levels right now, I mean, as you get up to I think it's once you hit 500, then things get kind of spaced out because they want you playing the game a little bit longer. Plus, they don't want to give you everything right to where you can acquire it so quickly. I think it's like every 8 right now, every 8 collector levels. And how you get these is you upgrade your card. So as you win games, you get these, you play these seasons, you get these
I think they call them cosmetics, like the enhancements. First you get a frame break.
Right.
So they stretch out beyond the border, then he goes 3D.
Okay.
Then animated,
right,
which usually involves flames flickering in the background.
Yeah, you're thinking like, oh man, everything's going to be animated. You're like, oh no, that guy's cape's waving just a little bit. Claws animation, like that is something like you can see on just in your hand, like his little claw, or the energy coming off the claw. You can see that.
I haven't gotten him up to animated yet.
It looks pretty cool.
The
next one, okay, so animated, and then the next one is going to be
shiny logo,
right? And then after that, I think it becomes
an animated frame.
Yep, animated frame. And I think after that, it's the infinity level.
Yeah,
where you
get a rainbow holographic background copy of the card.
Right. So yeah, you're right. I mean, what we're doing here is we're just cosmetically enhancing the card, but it also advances you to where you can get additional cards. That's the whole point. You want your cards get to look cool, and then you can go up the collection level ladder, get either additional credits or additional cards, and that's what I love, getting the additional cards, because that then gives you something else to kind of build a deck around.
Well, man, Jesse, I just got some gold, and I'm trying to decide between that pixel variant Hell Cow, the Thor version of the Destroyer, or a Ghost Rider Quinjet.
A Ghost Rider Quinjet?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
So, okay, hold up. So apparently, I mean, this is breaking news for me. Like, I right now in the shop, I've got I got like, geez Louise, I got 3 pixel variants. Yeah, I want to see this. Wow, that Quinjet is awesome, dude. That is pretty cool. That's
this Destroyer Thor though is looking pretty.
Did you send that to me?
Hang on, I'm going to send it to you. I think that might be what I grab.
So this is down there on in your daily offer, right?
Yep.
Interesting. So apparently different players get different daily offers, because I do not have any of that. I got Pixel Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl. What the heck? Yeah. Not tailoring this thing very well.
Dude,
I don't use the Squirrel Girl card as often as you'd think I would.
Well, and it's
mainly because it just makes me want to have Carnage kill the squirrels, and that's a downer.
That is a bummer. That Destroyer Thor, man. Wow. Yeah, so Pixel Squirrel Girl, Pixel Cyclops, Pixel Rhino, and then I got a Rocket Raccoon variant, which is him holding this massive gun. The gun is 3/4 of the card, if not more. And Rocket's like this little thing.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Is that a Scotty Young? It looks like a Scotty Young, but usually Scotty Young's the little kid one, so I don't know.
We really need a way to credit the artists on these cards. That's occurred to me quite a bit.
Yeah, because do they have some that say Scotty Young variant? Because a lot of the little kid ones are Scotty Young. There's a lot of.
I did not know. No, I've never seen them credit a name for any of the.
Maybe it's just because I recognize them. I tend to like the Pixel ones. I got a free Nova variant that I've seen the comic, but it's not significantly different from the original Nova cover. So or Nova card.
Okay. Have you seen the 1602 variants?
No, I have not.
I've got. I had one earlier today that was 1602 Bucky, and then and now I got a 1602 Medusa.
No, I haven't seen those.
And
yeah, I got the baby variant of the of Black Cat.
What is this? Okay, this is a brand new one for me too. Band variant, which okay, so this is interesting. I'm gonna send you the 1602 real quick. The 1602 Medusa, it looks like Medusa's on a pirate ship maybe or something. She's just swinging through.
Yeah.
All right. And then here is Quake band variant. And I was like, what in the world is a band variant? Well, she's playing the drums.
Okay. I think they would have saved that for Spider-Gwen. But yeah, now see Spider-Gwen, that'll probably be one of the featured updates because that's one of the more obvious ones we haven't seen yet.
You know, we're just gushing over the way these cards look, and it's fun to actually sit down and talk to somebody that plays the game. You and I trade stuff back and forth, and Gavin Napier, he also is playing, and I've been sending stuff back and forth to him as well. So you guys are about the only two that I know that play this game. But my goodness, what I think, if people understood like how connected this is to the actual Marvel comics and how actually well this game is put together right now, there'd probably be a lot more people that are jumping on. Actually, I think there have been still.
My brother is the one that turned me onto it, and I've got a couple friends at work that play it. I'm looking forward. Supposedly, there's going to be a way that like you and me could play against each other, so I could really teach you how it's done.
Oh, okay. Talk the stuff.
Yeah, famous last words. But I mean, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I've been playing for a while. There's another game called Marvel Puzzle Quest, and that's a lot of fun. But the games are a little bit more time involved. I mean, not significantly, but these you can knock out pretty quick. And it has like alliances and stuff where you can like share resources with people, help out that way. So I'm hoping they do something like that. I know my brother told me that there is supposed to be like a thing where you can pick opponents as opposed to just the random aspect of it, so that he and I could play, you and me could play, that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to that being added.
Right. You and I have kind of expressed our concern with each other about how long they can kind of keep this going. One of the terms I heard recently, I was actually listening to a podcast where the guy was saying he had been playing a lot of this. It's a video game podcast, actually. He said that he thinks that the game will probably run into a situation where it has power creep.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea what that. I've heard that term before, but I didn't know what it meant. And basically what it means is like you run into a limited amount of options as you continue to play the game, to where these cards start to get more powerful, and the rest of the cards that were originally in there aren't as powerful anymore. I mean, if you look at Magic the Gathering, very similar. Robert Cooper, been on source material before. Coop came over last year, it was in October, and he brought over some Magic cards, and he had a bunch of recent Magic cards. I had a bunch of old ones. We sat down, and I still have a bunch of decks that were put together. So we sat down and played against each other. And yeah, his cards destroyed mine because mine were all from, 20 years ago. And these cards had evolved so much. They're way more powerful than what used to be there. That happens because of the limited amount of options that you have. You start to kind of reach out. I feel like there's a lot of possibility that they can do. One of the things that I want to see with this game is I want to see like a what if season. I'd love to see that.
I don't know. I guess it's a drawback to some people, but they're supposedly going to be changing it. Is you can't really pick which cards you get other than those variants like we were talking about.
Okay.
I got Electro. Not really quite sure how to make him work. That may not mean that Electro is a bad card. It may just mean I'm not creative enough to use him. I've gotten a few. I'm like, what? Really? That guy? Still haven't gotten Gambit.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's after Wong.
Yeah.
I actually made a deck called Anti-Wong because I was getting so mad at how many times somebody would lay out Wong, and I'd be like, oh, man, here we go.
Just drop Cosmo on him. You'll be fine. Until Cosmo prevents you from doing something you want to do.
But I will tell you that, you keep some cool variants out there and you keep the cards coming that at least fit the game well and aren't too overpowered, we're going to be okay. This next round of cards looks good. So
yeah, no, like I said, I'm looking forward to being able to play against people. And you know, like I said, I've been playing Puzzle Quest for several years now, and now I got to admit I've kind of slacked off a little bit. Snap has been my Marvel game fix, but I mean Puzzle Quest still has some interesting characters, and they've had a few that were kind of overpowered. Polaris and Shang-Chi, especially in Puzzle Quest, are pretty dangerous. But you know, they've also added some new powers and things to adapt to that. So you know, it's I'm kind of surprised that's kept my interest for as long as it has. So I can see them you know, coming up with some new variations on this and keeping it going for a while.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that is the case. I will say, the next time, if we do have another Snap discussion, what we need to do is we need to bring our game stories. Some really specific, like hilarious game stories, such as the ones that I've sent you about laying down a hobgoblin and then him sending it back over to me with another hobgoblin. And then I ended up flinging it back over to him and he had a -20 because it got doubled. It was hilarious. But yeah, we'll have to have some good ones.
I had a stretch where I kept having hobgoblin tossed right back at me by Odin like 3 times in a row.
That's stuff. Evan Bevins, thank you very much for celebrating Stan Lee's birthday with me today. This is the Super Blog Team Up. We might as well go ahead and get into plugs here. So this is going to be airing on a day, and I need to figure out what day that is going to be.
I believe it's December 28th.
December 28th.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, so last week on the Source Material podcast, you should be able to hear me and Mark Radulich, recorded last night, by the way. He and I got together and we talked Slayer, the Heavy Metal Santa Claus, 4-issue series from Action Lab Entertainment. And it was an interesting discussion. Goes a little off the rails when we start to talk at the end about a CBR list of the top 10 crazy times that Santa Claus appeared in comics. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let me just say that we didn't really talk a whole lot about the list. Mark took it in another direction. We'll just put it that way.
No, I can't imagine that happening.
Not surprised. But yeah, you can check that out. It should be in the archive there. Also, check out the Unspoken Issues podcast right here on the Source Material Comics feed, where we talk 90s comics. Evan Bevins has been on that show with me. Chris Armstrong, Dean Compton, and Derry Wade have been on there here recently as well. So feel free to check that out if you dig 90s comics. That is there for your entertainment. Evan Bevins, what's going on with Asterisk 51?
Well, in honor of Stan Lee's 100th birthday and the Super Blog Team Up, I am going to start reading back through for the first time in a long time the Just Imagine Stan Lee creating the DC Universe. This point, I believe I'm still working my way toward the end of the Secret Defenders run, which has been a lot of fun. And you'll find me talking about what movies you can find at Dollar Tree, what well-known films and utterly bizarre discoveries I watch there, and then just, you know, whatever other interesting comic book tidbits I find along the way.
Love it. Well, Evan Bevins, thank you very much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you soon. But yeah, make sure to check out #SuperBlogTeamUp in order to celebrate Stan Lee's birthday with us. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.